Hello, welcome to the YouGrind. I have here.
Kenneth Ng. I'm a videographer, photographer who specializes in event photography.
Wait, back up before you tell me all of that.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your childhood or how you got into that.
Uh, so I got into videography and I guess filmmaking in general when I was in eighth grade. For history class, I the teacher created this project called History Day, which is more just like a sort of what I was, if I remember correctly, it's like a national history, like quote unquote competition, but not essentially really. It's like a history project that students participate in, and a lot of the my classmates did like website, and then I don't remember if the second most was like I think a presentation, but then what I ended up doing was a documentary, and that documentary was about the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act. That's where I decided, you know what, I really like editing. I also really like watching YouTube videos where they edit how they edit videos. So I want to also try it out. So I decided because I had a MacBook Air at the time, do the free trial of Final Cut Pro, and then dabbled a lot on how to edit the documentary.
So you were self-taught.
Self-taught in a way, yes, but the documentary, now looking back at it, obviously because it was my first time going through like a very more advanced editing software compared to like iMovie and Windows Movie Maker, it was definitely a big step in what I wanted to do. Despite how I sort of edited that documentary, it was more inspiring for me to keep going with it. So that's how I sort of started doing more filmmaking. And as high school I went through high school, I took some video production classes. I even helped out with the leadership class, which frankly I was never a part of leadership. They just asked me, hey, do you want to be a part of this project that we do every couple years, where we highlight drunk driving, underage drinking, and DUI, and advocate for none of that. So that's how it sort of elevated me to keep going. And then leading up to college, I really enjoyed making documentary filmmaking, which is how I started essentially.
So in the womb, you were already making film.
I guess something like that, you could say.
I met somebody was a guest who said they were doing film since they were 5. So, I mean, I believe it's a thing.
I guess you could say that. I originally thought I was gonna be like a video game developer, but then when I took like a computer science class, I realized I hated doing that, and there's no way I can code my way into making a game. So that's why I really like doing anything with a camera. And I guess one thing to say is that like I at one point liked editing, but as college went through, I stopped liking editing. So there's like a lot of phases that happen throughout my journey as a filmmaker.
So you just kind of like tech. You like tech,
I
right?
like tech more, like production, post-production. Well, not really post-production anymore, but more production now.
Production. What does that mean to a human being that doesn't like or doesn't know what that means?
All right. So production is basically just anything like with the camera, anything to do with lights, and then making sure sound is good on the day of like a production day. So for me specifically, how do I say this? For me, I like just camera, behind the camera. I know like in the past I also, funny enough, like acted in my own films, but I realized I don't like being in front of the camera. Not as much as I used to. So I more like to just stay behind the camera, just produce.
Okay. That doesn't give an idea of somebody who doesn't do film how it would be to be on a set, but it's okay. Moving on.
I gave a little bit more of a complicated answer.
Right. I want like the breakdown. I want like every everything you do step by step, but it doesn't have to be educational.
They can figure it out.
Some of them might not want to, but yeah, it's what I typically do anyway.
I see.
You know, I have guests come on and talk about film and stuff, which I could have a garbage man come and talk to me about what his day is like. Mm-hmm. I don't care. I just want to talk to people.
I see.
But anyway, here's the most important question. You have to answer this right, or there'll be a lot of people mad at you. Do you believe in aliens?
Do I believe in aliens? I do believe that there are aliens. I do have a slight feeling that they could also be watching us, but I don't really think about it too much because it's not really like a huge topic that I think about. So my answer is yes.
See, I would have invited you to come to Sacramento with us to go ghost hunting, but you already said no.
I said no because I'm very superstitious, and that's actually really bad.
So what would happen if we come back and I come back like fucking like fucked up? What would you do? How would you bring me back to life?
How?
Yeah. If I became possessed in this Sacramento adventure.
I'm not totally sure. Honestly.
You're like that. You need a fucking pastor or a priest for that, right?
You could say that.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what to do with my film career next up. You know.
I understand. Yeah, it's a hard like route. It's also like a very risky route because like it's. I've known this since entering into the film route. Like it's gonna be risky. There's not much avenue for, I guess you could say, error, but like it at least enhances the creative mind in a way.
Going ghost hunting?
Okay, well I meant filmmaking, but
I mean, you gotta try everything at least once. I am very superstitious myself, but I always kind of married the idea of ghosts and you know, the third round and stuff like third eye and all that kind of stuff. I feel like I'm woke. I feel like I'm pretty open-minded.
I think like for me it's just because I'm more on the Eastern perspective, like the Asian perspective. Like ghosts are legitimately a bad thing in Eastern superstition. Like I think when I was little, I remember around Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year, I guess, that my parents ripped up a red envelope, and I'm not sure if it had money in it or not, but they told me, oh, there was ghosts in the house, so we caught it in the red envelope and ripped it apart and threw it in the trash. So there's like a little bit of that, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I
mean, there is such thing as good magic and bad magic,
I guess,
but all of it is not magic. You shouldn't be fucking around with that stuff. It's what I'm trying to say.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, be excited for what we bring back from Sacramento.
Of course.
Without you, because you won't go.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. At least you believe in stuff that's out there.
Yeah. More on the just Eastern perspective. Like I understand like there's also the Western perspective, but it's always nice to hear from a different perspective, like a different culture, essentially.
Well, I am Mexican, so not white. What is the hardest thing you have faced in life or in your career?
I guess the hardest has been basically this past year since I graduated. I never really had a proper internship in the film industry because like
Did you go to college for film?
Yes.
Where'd you go to?
UC Santa Cruz. So the film department at that time wasn't that great until the moment I exited college, so that was a shame. And then I tried to apply to like multiple internships that sort of had a semblance of like film, but then they never got back to me. And then another thing that I didn't mention this during like the introduction part that like when I directed a narrative short film, I actually didn't like it at all. Like I didn't like to find a cast. I found a crew. That was actually easy. But finding a cast was actually so stressful that I told myself I don't think I can go into like Hollywood essentially. Like I'm okay with going indie, but I don't want to direct a narrative like short film with like a scripted whole script that is completely scripted compared to like a documentary where it shows more emotion. It's like more.
Well, it's a story based in real life.
It is.
That's what a documentary.
It is story based, and I agree with you with that. I just don't like having to like script like basically the whole the whole thing, because then like for me it becomes stressful because like.
But yet again, the people that are supposed to cast the cast, that's its own job itself.
Yeah.
You as a producer director aren't the one that's supposed to be choosing talent, but we end up doing it anyway.
Yeah, that's the one thing, because as a film student, that's kind of your job as well, because you're directing it. You don't have like a casting staff.
Well, the thing is also, for me, I have no problem getting cast and crew. All men. They're all men. If I need a female actress specifically, I can't. They are so hard to get. I don't know if it's because I don't have a studio. I don't know if they're in it for the money. If they're in it for the money, I don't know if they're in it because I live far away from, like, let's say San Francisco, San Jose, whatever, what the fuck ever major cities. I don't know. But case is, females, I cannot get them to work with me.
I see.
And the documentary, as you remember, I was the only female there.
Yeah.
It was an all cast and crew guys.
Oh yeah. But,
no problem with that, but
I guess going back to the question of what's the hardest.
Do you find the same thing?
Sorry?
Casting females or males, or just casting period?
Just casting period. Like I just it just felt stressful because I didn't know many people within the film department, because I kept it in my own bubble, which was like...
That happens everywhere.
Yeah, which is more just Chinese students, Asian students. Like, I kept it to that bubble, so... Which is partially, like, I guess my fault, because I didn't really get into the film club, like, more, because I didn't like how it was ran back in the day, so
you're from what it sounds to me, you're a very traditional kind of guy, where you're like, okay, I love film, I'm going to film school, and then I guess I don't know what path you would take from there, but it sounds like you're very traditional.
It kind of feels like it, yes. Yeah, traditional in a way. And then after graduation, it just dawned on me like, okay, so now that I'm graduated, what do I do? Essentially. And then I took up like multiple seasonals involving photography, and then my mind shifted towards photography, and then there was another job that involved videography, then my mind shifted to videography. So I've been like back and forth within like both sides of the coin of a camera, essentially.
So you're a low-key DP.
Low-key. The photography being graduation ceremonies, events, and then K through 12 picture days. Those are the list of seasonals, and then and I guess freelance as well, events being the majority of that. And then videography, from time to time, I noticed that haven't had like a lot of chances of doing videography unless a client asks me to, and normally it's always going to be event video photo, because now it's the expectation there. But there was also a time where I did purely videography for a dance competition, where I traveled to like Pittsburgh, California, out of all places.
Fucking Pittsburgh.
Which I have no idea why they chose that spot, but
because there's nothing going on out there.
Because they normally did it in San Mateo, but I guess this past year they decided to do it at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then I ended up traveling, covered, by the way, all travel expenses covered.
Nice.
To like Oregon, Arizona, Nevada, and Denver. So that was actually a pretty fun experience. But obviously this past year has been pretty difficult, because like there's not many like opportunities going out there, especially how this economy is going.
So you're like a freelancer? Or you had, like, work for a company?
So the seasonals under a company, events, in a way, I do freelancing, but it's also like essentially running a business
Right.
because I get referrals and then I also hand out like a business card
Yeah.
so to
It's a
get my
lot.
word out. So it's always the marketing aspect that
Yep.
comes with it.
Networking. Yeah. Same as film. Yeah.
So yeah, that's
But how do you feel about me not fucking being, you know, I didn't go to a film school and everything I know is hands on. Do you have less respect for me?
no, I have a lot of respect because you're not coming from a film school. You're coming from pure passion, essentially, and that's and I know like a lot of people who told me like, oh, I went to uh, I got this degree, but I end up choosing going to this, end up going to this career path. Like, I even remember hearing from the team captain I worked with when I was doing graduation ceremonies that he got a degree in electrical engineering, but then took up photography instead, and now he's was it now he's going to be oh no, not he's going to be. He became a photographer for.
There, it's outside.
And then okay, continue on. The team captain I work with for at graduation ceremonies, he he graduated as an EE with an EE degree, electrical engineering. But then eventually his career pivoted to photography. He is now a team captain for a lead team captain actually for the graduation ceremony production company where he leads a group at a graduation ceremony, whether it's university or college or high school.
Yeah.
And then he also told me that he works as a photographer for marathons as well. And I actually talked with him recently
Yeah.
about potentially also being a part of that. And he said, yeah. And then he gave me like the link to apply. And then I already potentially might have some marathons that I'll also cover too. So that part is actually kind of exciting. I also go into like potentially events, sports photography. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so that's why like people who told me that they got a degree in something completely different like STEM, they then transition it to something creative later on in their life. So
But, you know, why go the traditional route though? If at the end of the day, it doesn't really fucking matter. Aside from maybe the connections you make, you know? In my eyes, it's like a fucking waste of time.
I kind of understand that. A part of me is like, yeah, going into college to pursue a film degree is like essentially like not the best decision, but I also kind of like the college
Is it
life.
just to make your parents proud? Like, yeah, here you go, parents. I went to college.
Not well, that is also partially the reason, but I just wanted to go like experience college because like at least I can have that experience, that life experience.
Fair enough. Okay.
And that's so because
that.
I it doesn't seem like it from like I guess some of y'all, but I do enjoy being in a social like group as well. And that it especially became apparent when the pandemic happened. I was class of 2020 for high school, so I completely lost out on a grad trip to Disneyland.
Holy shit! I'm 10 years older than you.
I lost.
You're a fucking kid.
I lost an in-person graduation ceremony, and that was devastating. And
then how'd you graduate? Via Zoom?
we graduated through drive-through. So basically,
Drive-through? Like
So-
you just drove by?
So essentially, what happened was on the last day of school, when the day is supposedly our graduation, they did our ceremony online through a website as well as the local TV station in Pleasanton. So that's how it happened. And then
You should be like, I want a refund. I want my actual fucking graduation. Because I fucking deserve a physical graduation. Damn it.
Yeah, but that was high school. We're not talking college here, but
College, you had an actual graduation.
College, we had an actual graduation.
You paid too much to not have a fucking walk moment for graduating, because that shit must have been super hard.
Yeah, and also I actually originally thought of doing a 3-year pathway for college, but then because I also lost out on freshman year college, because that entire year was on Zoom basically, I ended up taking 1 more year and just taking up like.
I can't do online classes. I need a physical fucking classroom.
Yeah, that's how a lot of us felt during that time, because we all, my friend group that I made during college, they were like devastated to have freshman year of college online, but that's somehow how we were able to connect and get together in the first place, because we all made the effort of trying to somehow connect with others through a screen.
Right.
And then it became all worth it when we finally hung out at the very end of the academic year, when the restrictions of COVID went down. So in the end, it became a lot worth it.
Think that COVID fucked you up socially, honestly?
A little, maybe not. I wouldn't say a little bit, but it definitely impacted how I interact with others socially, because I think losing out on like all the freshman stuff for college kind of like bummed me out.
I would have dropped out. Like, I would have fucking dropped out. Fuck this shit.
I guess.
That's what that's what I did. Anyway, enough about my dropness. Do you consider yourself successful?
I would say that so far I've had some success. Like I think I told you this before when we first met, that the senior documentary piece that I did to earn my degree in film, surrounding Asian Americans and why they ended up choosing the film route instead of going through the stereotypical Asians gonna go into STEM, become a doctor, lawyer, and that allowed me to get into 3.5 film festivals. Like it's 3 film festivals. Nice. And then 1 screening, 1 collective screening essentially. But unfortunately, because of like other commitments I had at the time, I wasn't able to like attend these film festivals. But it at least gave a lot of like in my mind that I can at least make a documentary and get selected into these sort of these film festivals if they establish the story really good, and which
you got into film festivals. That's pretty fucking badass.
Yeah, I know.
Some of us can't even get into any.
Like
so
3, like I was surprised that I got 1. I was amazed that I got into like 4. Essentially,
it's very comforting. It's like helping you figure out that you're going through the right path.
Yeah, and it's not, and you don't even, and the thing is about submitting into film festival, you have to pay to submit.
Yes.
So like knowing that out of like the, I think 20 that I actually submitted my film for, like a fifth like said yes.
And you also don't know what the fuck they're basing it off of. Like, sometimes they purely base it off a location or like the stupidest little thing. It's not always like if your movie is good or not. We don't know the politics based off of what they're judging.
I mean, that's why like I specifically went for anything that's documentary, potentially anything that's Asian American.
So are you going to produce again? Like your own film? Or are you looking more to work?
For now, I'm looking more to work because I think my number one thing that I also need to be careful of is also obviously financial. Like that.
I was gonna quiz you and say, what is the hardest thing as a filmmaker?
Obviously,
the money.
The money.
You pass.
It's always
you fucking pass.
It's always the money as a filmmaker because like so you need
money and casting the right people.
That too. It's like you need potentially a crew, but from my experience. Especially the documentary, it was literally just me, myself, and I wrote like the questions. I wrote like a script for the narration. I was the only cameraman, and I was the editor.
It was very similar to the documentary we just got finished doing.
Yeah.
How was that like? How was that experience?
The one that we did recently, correct?
Yes.
I liked it really much because it allowed me to get back to a film production scene, especially like with a bigger like crew.
You know, I still think of myself as a small independent creator, right?
Yes.
And all my sets have been like mid to like
10 plus crew.
Big, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, you know, you're a big filmmaker already. I'm like, damn it, I don't see myself as that.
I mean, if you have a big crew, then it almost seems like you seem you're like a big shot at this point. So
I think I need one more.
Yeah.
Good film, and I'll be there.
Yeah, I do think so.
I just need to find the right DP.
Of course.
Which has been very difficult because I'm learning how to be a director. And the director and the DP are supposed to work hand by hand.
Yes.
And it doesn't end up being like that.
Of course.
So that's the hardest thing.
Yep.
What is something people don't really know about you that you're willing to share?
That don't know about me that I'm willing to share?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm trying to think if there really is.
What do you do like in life that's normal that doesn't involve filmmaking?
Well, if like I legitimately have nothing in the day, I tend to stay home a lot. Like there's times where there are days where I just like I don't want to do anything. I just want to stay home, just be on my computer all day. And that's what happened this past weekend because I think like while I do seasonal and then also freelancing, I also tend to burn out surprisingly easily.
Yeah, you have a resting bitch face.
I do.
Yeah. We caught you judging us a couple times.
So sometimes like my expression seems to like look tired, and that's usually because like I'm very busy, especially this past month since the graduation season just happened for about a month. So there are times where like I feel very lazy and don't want to do anything, which is actually pretty bad. Because like you just stagnated yourself for a day and you just wasted that day, which I get it, but I think like maybe it's partially sort of my mental is just like sometimes like after working for basically maybe even like a whole week where it's essentially like sometimes even like a whole day's work is like eventually I do need like a small like maybe a day and a half for a break.
Well, we need to do normal human things. I catch myself doing only film and work, and it's like, okay, well, I need to stop being like a robot and get myself back to normal and do normal human things like grocery shopping and cleaning my apartment.
I mean, the normal human activities sometimes is like whenever I do, like, whenever like my friends are free, we typically try to hang out. But obviously, like since they're all graduated now, it's like almost hard.
You're in that stage where you're building your career, where your career is really important, and you know you put socializing very very down to the you know.
And it kind of sucks because like after graduation, it almost felt like okay, well I graduated 1 quarter early actually, so like
are you a fucking overachiever?
Am I?
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah, I tend to
get the fuck out of my podcast.
Well, I tend to be like
can't be an overachiever here. I'm just joking.
Well, I tend to think in ways is like okay, I need to make sure like I don't do anything wrong, so like I don't want
a perfectionist,
something like that, which is kind of like a double-edged sword. Like I want to make sure like things.
Do you have any siblings? Are you the oldest?
I am the oldest.
You have the older vibe.
Yeah, I do.
How many?
Just one.
One younger
brother who's 2 years and 6 days younger than me.
Damn, I don't keep track.
Well, I mean, we were born in the same month, so
2 years after.
Yes.
Okay.
So essentially that. But
what month?
December.
Early December or
Mid.
Mid.
Yeah.
So are you a Cap?
I'm a Sag.
I
think
you told me that.
Told me.
I hate Sages.
But yeah.
Can you guess my birthday month?
Have you mentioned it earlier?
I mentioned Capricorn.
Yeah.
I'm a Capricorn. January 2nd.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God. You did mention that.
Yes. I'm a proud Capricornian. And yes, I believe in astrology, low key.
Low key.
They're half right.
Okay. Cap, I lost my train of thought from what we were talking about earlier.
That you're the oldest.
Yeah, the oldest, and I'm low key perfectionist. Oh, and we were talking about like human, like normal activities, like yeah.
Human activities, yes.
Yeah, so like they're all figuring out what they want to do basically. Like one of my friends, he was trying to get UI UX. He's not finding anything. One of my friends just got into USF for grad. So that's exciting. Are you
saying fuck college, don't go to college because you're not going to find anything?
I would say probably go to community college to save money and then maybe transferring into a 4-year college.
That's where I dropped out.
Yeah.
Community college. I said, I'll be back. I'm going to go work for a little bit. Never came back. Never had a regret.
Yeah, I think still, I feel like college still feels somewhat worth it, albeit even like the economic incentive is definitely not there. But I think if one were to go into college though, they should 100% just go through community college. But
well, the good thing is that you went to college for film,
yes.
And I'm a college dropout, so we could kind of like work together, you know,
yeah,
to like bring something fucking amazing into this existence of failing Hollywood film.
Of course. Yeah, that's kind of like
how big do you think our documentary that we just finished is gonna be?
I think it'll be pretty big. Like I really liked how it was produced. I think all the production days were very smooth, albeit the wind.
Aside the wind.
But
fuck the wind.
The wind you can't really control, unfortunately. But it is what it is. We
guys adapted. Check the wind if you ever record anything.
We adapted well. We found an alternative that was really good. So I still think it was. I think it will be pretty big. The editing will be good, right? Of course.
Fired. Already fired. We fired the editor already.
Yeah. So we all quit filming.
Any famous last words before we head out?
I guess like one thing that I still kind of live by is like try to live life without regrets. That was kind of what my dad told me a lot. Mm-hmm. Just live life without regrets. Try as hard as you can, and if nothing works out, at least you learn from it. Like I don't have much regret. I do have a little bit of regret on some regards of my life, but I still try to live by that, and that's what everyone should really live by. Like if you want to go into filmmaking, just as long as you don't regret your decision later on, just put it as like you took that chance, and then if it doesn't work out, you learn from it and try to improve on it. So that's something
right.
That
all filmmaking is problem solving and learning as you go.
Yes.
With that said, thank you for watching. Where can they find you?
I do have an Instagram. It is okay. Well, I did change it recently, so like I kind of remember. It's at Kenn .ETHSNG on Instagram. And then I also have a portfolio linked as well. If you want, and I guess am I allowed to self-promote here?
Yeah. Go ahead.
If you want an event photographer or event videographer, hit me up as well. Either send me a DM or go through my portfolio, see what I do. I previously worked at 2 wine tasting events with the same company.
Classy.
That was fun. And then I worked with an investment firm that had sort of like a road trip throughout the Bay Area. And then I very recently did an event where they had a panel specializing in small business and financing. So if you want someone who can do corporate events, cover corporate events, or any events in general, if you ask me weddings, I will ask to be second shooter. I am not entirely there yet, but I'm just
Never
gonna say that.
let them know that you're not confident.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, see you guys next time. Peace. Yeah, never confess to people that you're not confident.